Good morning. Happy Wednesday, July 6th. I hope you all having an awesome day, an awesome week, an awesome start to the second half of the year. It's the month of July. This officially starts the beginning of the next 6 months. And just one thing I want to remind you of, at any point in time, you don't need a new year. You don't need a new 6 months, a new week, a new day. You don't need any of those things. At any given time, you can decide. You can change your mind. You can decide that you're going to start over right now. So no matter what's happened, no matter what you've done in your business, in your personal life, in your finances, with your attitude, with your intentions, with your physicality, with your health, you can decide today that you're going to make a difference and you're going to change. You can decide today that you are going to start over right now, not tomorrow, not later today, right now. You can make a decision. And for those of you out there that are questioning what you're doing, how you're doing it, am I doing the right thing? I invite you to do that right now. I invite you to take this moment and to decide whatever it is that you need to decide. Make a decision. I will no longer let this hold me back from getting that. I will no longer be a captive to the fears of everything that's going on in this market with the news and that. I will no longer be captive to that. I'm going to decide to take action and start prospecting today. So that's what I want you to do. I invite you right now to make a decision. Make a decision that you are going to change and you are going to make a difference and you're going to do something different, because if you want something different, you have to do something different. If you want better, you have to be better. If you want more, you've got to do more. Very basic and very simple, but it all starts with a decision. So far up until this point, you have made certain decisions that have given you the quality of life that you're living right now. Those decisions that you're making are dictating what you're getting. They dictate your attitude, your intentions. They dictate the things that you're getting out of your life, out of your business, out of your relationships. So I just invite you right now, if this is something that you need to do, just make a decision and fully and wholeheartedly, with all of your emotions and all of your attitude and your mindset and belief, just make a decision that you're going to do something different and make a statement. What is that? And if you want to, please go ahead, hit the chat button and just go ahead and share what that decision is. Share it with somebody if you want to. You don't have to. There's so many different philosophies. If you will go out there, set a goal and tell everybody about it, that way you'll be held accountable to it. Some people, you set a goal and you work in silence and let your actions prove it. Doesn't matter what you do. You can do any one of them. There's so many different philosophies. It just matters what's going to work for you. What do you want? What are you going to do? So make a decision that you are going to do something different. And what is that decision? If you'd like to, please share. Go ahead and chat in. I decided that today I decided that I'll no longer this. I decided that I will have this, or I plan to do this, or I'm going to get that. Whatever that is, make a decision. Please, if you feel like it, share it with everybody on here and let us know. But so what we're going to talk about today, we're going to continue on with a little bit of the back to basics. We're going to talk about a little bit of stats about the market, just to kind of remind you of what's going on, give you some more talking points while you're out there. So let's jump on into the agenda that I've got for us today. And a couple of housekeeping items to start off with, though. Let's start off here. Florida 21 is July 25th to the 27th. If you have not got your tickets, your registration, the prices went up at the end of May from $99 to like $129, $149. But you're in luck. If you have not got your registration tickets yet, contact Susie Brush. Susie Brush has two $99 tickets that she can sell you. So we have some people that won't be able to attend that had tickets. So we got two $99 tickets that we will be reimbursing the agents for that bought them. So if you can and would like to make it, contact Susie Brush and she will take care of getting you registered for Florida 21 and get you the lower price tickets of $99. 2 weeks from, or no, I'm sorry, a week from tomorrow, July 14th, we're going to have an Ask the Appraiser event. Right now, pricing properties is more important than anything. Understanding the motivation of your seller, connecting with the seller, but pricing the property properly with them and discussing how you're going to position it on the market is very, very important. Making sure that they understand the truth about the value of their home, where it is. Realistically, we can still price it wherever they want, as long as they know the truth. As long as they know the truth, this is where it needs to be. This is what's happening in the market. This is what's going on. We're seeing some slowdowns in the amount of buyers. We are not necessarily saying your home is not going to sell. We're just saying it's probably not going to sell in the first 3 to 5 days. We're going to take a little bit of time to make sure we get this right. My recommendation is always to price it where the value of the property should be. We can already see that there's price reductions happening a lot quicker, homes that are sitting on the market a little bit longer. And I know you said you wanted to be here by then because of this. So in order to obtain that, I think it would be best for us to be more in this range, but let's talk about it. Where do you feel the value of your home? Where do you feel the value of your home is after seeing all of the information that I've shared with you? So anyway, we have an Ask the Appraiser event a week from tomorrow at 11 a.m. It will be on Zoom. So you will be able to Zoom in. We'll send out another invite for it. If you're going to be in person, I'm going to send another Google form invite out. So please fill out the form. And that's just because we're going to bring lunch. We're going to provide lunch for everybody on that day. It's going to be Angie Richardson, who is one of our agents, but also a marketing rep and sales rep for Dolan Mortgage. She's coordinated for 2 appraisers to join us and to discuss their processes and be able to open a Q&A with them so you can talk with them about it. So that's going to be a week from tomorrow at 11 a.m. It will be live in the Apollo Beach training room, but also broadcast via Zoom. Next, 2 weeks from that, on the 21st, I'm sorry, a week from that on the 21st, July 21st, Thursday at 11 a.m., we have a Tony Robbins Peak Performance Workshop. It's an awesome hour to hour and a half event with a national trainer for Tony Robbins. If you've never been to one of his events, they're going to give you a quick little compact kick in the ass for that. They talk to you about attitude, intentions, beliefs, mindset. What are you doing? Do you need to make a shift? Do you need to make a change? And this is something that gives you the opportunity to take in some input and take in some actions and accountability and decide, okay, well, maybe this is something that I need to do here. Maybe I can make a few changes here. I can do that. Just kind of going all into that. Then they'll also have an opportunity for you to sign up for Unleash the Power Within if you choose. They have a live event at the end of the year in November. We typically end up having anywhere between 10 and 20 agents that end up attending that event. That will be live in the Apollo Beach training room. I'm working on getting them to do it via Zoom. They just will not allow us to Zoom it. They're seeing if they can coordinate and set up Zoom so we can get it to you all. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So if you can sign up for that, I'll send another registration link out for that as well. So the Peak Performance event is going to be, it's awesome. I'll tell you what, the one thing that started the catalyst for me, and really, like, there was a catalyst, and that was really getting surrounding myself with different mindsets, surrounding myself with people like Craig and Jeff and all of the agents that were here when I first joined this company. That really was a catalyst. It started a spark in me that just started lighting and just kept going and kept building. And then the main gasoline on that fire was that Tony Robbins Peak Performance Workshop that we did in this office. We try to do one every year and bring a trainer in to give you exposure to things like this. And it was awesome event. So when I signed up to go to the UPW, that was the gasoline on the fire that just lit it off, and it just completely shifted and changed everything inside of me. From there, I just knew there was something else, knew there was more. I knew I was going to push. There was no question about whether it was going to happen. It was a matter of when is it going to happen, because I am going to continue to push. So that was the gasoline on the fire for me. So I would highly recommend attending an event like that. We have a share, and I love this. Thank you so much for sharing this. Take better care of myself. Start by every day incorporating better eating habits, adding some kind of exercise 3 to 4 days a week, and allowing myself daily quiet time meditation without interruption for at least 30 minutes. This will be put into my daily calendars to remind me I'm just as important as everything else in there. Amazing. High five. Thank you so much for that attitude, that intention, and thank you for sharing that. And that's really what it's about. Make a decision. The decision is that I am more important than everything else in my calendar, because my calendar doesn't exist if I'm not here. So I am more important. I'm going to set that attitude and intention. I'm going to do all of these things. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So we got those events, the Florida 21, the Ask the Appraiser event, and the Peak Performance Workshop. So let's start off by jumping into this article. And this is just out this morning from Florida Realtors. If you ever need content, you can go to Florida Realtors and you get emails from them pretty much every day. And there's 4 or 5 articles in there. This is an article pulled just straight from the Florida Realtors, and you can go ahead and read through that. And you can use any of that content, paraphrase it, put a video out there, and let the public know some information about what's going on in your market, in the national market, and things locally, wherever it is. Use these. You can also use some other websites. You can use Canva to put some, to create your own marketing material. Lumen 5 is another one that we've used before. Lumen 5, you can copy and paste this entire article and paste it into Lumen 5, and Lumen 5 will create a video with the text on it going through it. It pulls the information out of this. It paraphrases the article, cuts out the important parts, picks a video in the background, still images in the background that go with it, and creates a video for you that you can put on your page. Pretty awesome. So if you ever need content, it's all right here. It's all at your fingertips. But let's talk about this, because this is important information. So this is what was happening in May. So the National Association of Realtors is going to put out some information, and then Florida Realtors, or Florida Realtors, puts these emails out to you. So Tampa had the highest year-over-year home price gain at 33.4% for the 20 biggest metros. Florida was the state with the highest home price gains at 33.2%. So year over year, from May of 2021 till May of 2022, Florida had the highest home price gains in that 1 year of 33.2%. Highest home price gains in Florida. And inside Florida, Tampa Bay had the highest home price gains of any of the cities in Florida, but also any of the other cities in the nation at 33.4%. I think that's pretty substantial information that your homeowners should know, that buyers should know. And these are some of the things that are driving some of the decisions that buyers and sellers are making. Now, that was May, and there's been some shifts, but I'm going to show you a graph with the interest rates, so you can see in May, interest rates were already at like 5.25, 5.5, and people were still buying and still doing that. I'll show you that in a second. Though U.S. home price growth relaxed slightly in May from April, relaxed slightly, it remained in double digits year over year. So we relaxed slightly from 33.6 to 33.4%. Remained in double digits year over year for the 16th consecutive month. As in past months, all states and Washington, D.C. posted annual appreciation, with 13 states posting gains of more than 20%. 13 of the 50 states posted 20% or greater gains. While rising interest rates cooled overheated demand this spring and are expected to contribute to slowing price growth over the next year, motivated buyers may have less competition and more opportunities to move forward. That's very true. Motivated buyers may have less competition and more opportunities. They may not. Things are slowing. They may be able to ask for a little bit more. They may not. It depends on the area that they're in. I can see a neighborhood right here 5 minutes away compared to a neighborhood 10 minutes away, one here in Ruskin and one in Riverview, where a home goes on the market and ends up with 4 or 5 offers within the first 7 days. Not within the first day. It took about 7 days to get them. 3 out of the 4 of them were investors, and a home over in Riverview did not. Very similar, not too much different in them, a little bit of a different price point, but not much. One of them's still there. The other one had 4 or 5 offers. So what's the difference? It's going to be very, very hyper local. So slowing home price growth reflects the dampening consequence of higher mortgage rates on housing demand, which was the intention. That's important. The whole intention of raising the mortgage rates was to slow down the buyer demand to help get to a normalized housing market. That was the whole intention. So this is not a byproduct of this is happening and that's happening and all this. This is a byproduct of let's raise the interest rate so we can slow down the demand and try and bring a little bit of normality to the housing market that's there, to create a little bit more of balance so we can get some of this inflation under control, at least in the housing market. With monthly mortgage expenses up about 50% from only a few months ago, few buyers are now competing for continually limited inventory. And while annual home price growth still exceeds 20%, we expect to see a rapid deceleration in the rate of growth over the coming year. Just remember, very good choice of words. Expect to see deceleration in the rate of growth. Those are the terms and those are the things that you should be discussing and you should be using. A deceleration in the rate of growth, not a slowdown in the market, not a crash in the market. We're not seeing major shift. How about just a deceleration in the rate of growth? Because that's exactly what they're expecting in the coming year. Nevertheless, the normalization of overheated buying conditions should bring about more of a balance between buyers and sellers and a healthier overall housing market. So think about that. A deceleration in the rate of growth is the whole point of what they are doing to create a healthier housing market. So if you are saying to your buyers and sellers, yeah, well, what's going on right now is we're seeing a deceleration in the rate of growth. And the whole point of that is to bring on a healthier housing market. A healthy housing market, would that promote a buyer to buy, or would that promote a buyer to continue to sit on the sidelines? Would that potentially promote a seller to still sell, or would that make them sit on the sidelines? A healthier housing market. Mr. Buyer, do you prefer to buy in a healthy housing market, or do you prefer to buy in a crazy housing? Because everybody's buying in the crazy housing market. Why wouldn't you prefer to buy in a healthier housing market? That's the whole point, is to create a healthier housing market and to create more buyers of ability to buy. U.S. home prices, including the distressed sales, increased 20.2% in May 2022. That's U.S. Across the nation, 20.2% from May of 21 till May of 22. The Tampa Bay area had 33.4% gain. Compared to May of 2021, on a month-over-month basis, home prices increased 1.8%. So from April till May, they still went up 1.8%, still on an increase. In May, annual appreciation, well, it's basically the same. Annual U.S. home price gains are forecast to slow to 5% by May of 2023. So they're expecting annual home prices to go from 20% year over year till next May 2023. They're expecting it to say, hey, from May of 2022 till May of 2023, we're expecting about a 5% increase in home prices. So that is a deceleration in the rate of growth to create a healthier housing market. As rising mortgage rates and affordability challenges are expected to cool the buyer demand. Tampa, Florida logged the highest year-over-year home price increase of the country's 20 largest metro areas in May at 33.4%. While Phoenix posted the second largest at 28.7. These two metro areas also registered the largest gains in March and April. So when you look at that, people are choosing Florida over places like Phoenix. Even though Phoenix was a great place to buy or invest, more people decided to choose Florida and more people are moving here. Florida posted highest home price gain at 33.2% year over year, followed by Tennessee at 27.4, Arizona at 27.3. So DC ranked last for appreciation of 4.3%. So again, more stats, more things for you to discuss. I think the key takeaways for me, at least, are we expect to see a deceleration in the rate of growth over this next year to bring about a healthier overall housing market. I think those are very, very key points. And so when we're looking at this was a chart that I found and wanted to show you. When we're looking at May till May. So we're looking at May of 2021 till May of 2022. That's what we're looking at for a 33.4% appreciation in the Tampa Bay area. So from May of 2021, interest rates were hovering right around 3%. They dipped a little bit, they came up, they came back down. And then after December, they just started going up. 3.5, almost 4. By May of 2022, between March and May of 2022, they went from 3.75 to 5.25. So over that time, from March till May, we had a huge increase in the interest rates, 1.5% over a month and a half. And we still had 33% appreciation. So if you can consider and think about that, those are some of the reasons that they are causing the interest rates to go higher, because even as they went up 1.5 points, we still saw an increase in prices. And then now by July 2022, the projected is for them, you can see this is already happening. June, get up to 5.75, projected to come down a little, which they're already doing into July. They've come down a little bit. They expect them to go up again and then come down again. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about interest rates. We're talking about economy. We're talking about things like that. So when you're looking at interest rates, they're going to spike the interest rates to try to slow things down. Once they see that we had a little bit of an oh crap moment, maybe a little bit too much, they scale back a little bit, try to keep that interest there, try to bring a few more of the buyers out there. They'll go up a little bit, they'll come down a little bit, they'll go up a little bit until they find a good normal rate to create that healthy housing market. They're not trying to kill the housing market. They're not trying to speed up the housing market. They're trying to bring on a healthier housing market. So keep those things in mind. So lastly, for this, I'll show you a quick video. And again, more talking points for you.
Guys, we are not in a housing crisis. You know, I get all the messages. I've seen the stuff that the news is putting out, and everybody's comparing today's marketplace to the real estate crash of 2008. And, you know, when you look at the number one factor that really matters in the economy, it's supply and demand, right? And we've focused a lot on demand. I've shot some recent videos you can go check out on the demand, the place we're in from demand, but we're not focusing on supply enough. You know, when you look at the 4 years that led up to 2008, we had built twice as many homes as were needed in the market. And on top of that, about 30% of those homes were sold to people with adjustable rate mortgages, with ARMs, which meant that they were going to stay at a certain rate for a certain number of years and then go up, which meant that a lot of times they were purchased by people who couldn't really afford those loans. Now, fast forward to today, right? You look at today's market, Realtor.com released a report recently and said that we have a cumulative deficit of about 5.8 million homes in the marketplace. Think about supply, 5.8 million. That means that we would have to overbuild by 1 million homes for the next 6 years just to get to the place of equilibrium, to health. Think about the place we're at right now with inflation and cost of goods and all of that. Do any of you see a situation where we are going to overbuild by 1 million homes per year? No. Okay. The more you know, guys. I mean, the bottom line is, work with a pro. If you're working with a fear monger or whatever, get rid of them. Work with a pro in this industry. It'll work out.
So just another voice to give you some type of reasoning for what's going on. We focus a lot on the demand. We talk a lot about the demand and lowering the interest rates to slow the demand of the buyers. But we're also not talking about the supply. So you can slow the appreciation of homes by decreasing the number of buyers. You can slow that, but you're not able to affect the inventory that's being supplied. So the supply side of the supply and demand, that's a very, very valid point. If inflation continues to go up, if they can slow that down a little bit. I just read an article this morning also talking about jobs. As this happens and home builders do this and inflation does that, home builders are going to have to cut jobs. Okay, well, if home builders have to cut jobs, that means they already can't keep up with the amount of homes they're trying to produce. If home builders cut jobs, that's going to slow the supply side down even more. So you may be affecting one side, but you have to look at the other side and see what's happening over there too. You can slow the demand as long as the supply keeps up. It could help to keep up. But when you hear numbers like that, we're at a deficit of 1 million homes per year. So we'd have to overbuild 1 million homes per year for the next 5 years just to be able to catch up on the supply side. And all of this started in 2008 when the crash started. You can see the number of new home starts significantly went down. So even though 2012, 13, 14, and 15 in our area where there was a significant amount of building and they were putting a lot of homes in the ground, it still was nowhere near what they were doing in 6, 7, and 8. So we're already lagging behind. So again, more talking points. Keep some of those thoughts in your mind as you're having discussions. What is the YouTube link? I can send it out. Love it. Work with a pro, not a fear monger. That's exactly right. I mean, I'm already hearing and talking to a lot of people. I was talking to a family member the other day, and he's like, well, yeah, this is that. And this is, I was like, have you considered this? He was talking about, this isn't sustainable. This isn't going to happen. And near the end of going on and on about a bunch of things, he said, and I'll never be able to afford a home. So the statements that were coming from him were from a point of emotion, not facts. So I said, I completely understand that. I understand the fact of the affordability and not being able to afford a home. But you also, what about considering these things? Put some facts out there. And I said, what about the number of businesses that have moved to the state of Florida and then the state of Texas? I understand you're talking about prices and it's not sustainable. And I agree, the appreciation is not sustainable at that rate. But with the number of people moving here, the amount of income being brought in here, the amount of businesses that have moved here to the state of Florida, don't you think that that has an effect on the median home price? If we have more business, more income, more revenue being brought in, I'm not saying we are California, but California's home prices, our average home price, I think it's the median home price for the nation was like 370 or 350, 370 or so. We're right in that area. California, the same home that you pay 400 for here is $1 million there. So who's to say that California prices can increase and stay there the way that they are for the length of time that they've been, but Florida can't raise their prices the way that they have because of the amount of people, because of the revenue, because of the businesses that have come in, that our prices can't increase in a similar fashion, not nearly as much, and stay sustainable here, not the appreciation, but the value, the median home value. Who's to say that's not possible? When you look at everything that we have around here, we have just as much, if not more, than a state like that. We have a port. We have an Air Force base. We are very closely located to shipping routes. We're the closest port to the Panama Canal. We have a lot of other businesses that are moving here. We have very, very favorable tax structures for businesses and individuals. So there's a lot of revenue being brought here, a lot of money being brought here. Now, certain jobs, I know there's a lot more revenue there, but there's a lot of it that is starting to move here. Just look at the $1 million home price range and the cost of the homes that are there. So you have to consider a lot of those things. People come from a point of emotion. And when you have somebody who, and later you find out that he's paying $800 a month to rent an entire house. I mean, it's not a huge house, but it's a house. And he's paying $800 a month because it's from a family member, and he's not going to be able to get out and afford anything else. So a lot of the statements and sentiments are from a point of emotion and a point of hoping that the housing market crashes, and they're trying to speak that into existence. So we have to be the people who discuss some of the facts and just say, hey, here's what it is. We're experiencing a deceleration in the rate of home growth to bring on a healthier housing market. That doesn't mean a crash. That doesn't mean prices go through the floor. It just means that we will continue to see appreciation, just nowhere near the rates that we have. Home prices are probably going to continue to stay steady. Home price decreases that you see and you think are a market crash are because of this. Home in a neighborhood sells, closes for $500,000. Home is listed a month and a half, 2 months ago for $515, $520, whatever it was, because they're projecting it's going to keep going up. Home goes pending at $510, $515, $520. We have no idea what the contract was, but home goes pending. Now your sellers that put their home on the market for $525, trying to project even more, $530, $545. The last sale was $500, $505, $500. That's where the value of the home should be. Just because the pendings are here doesn't mean that's where the value of your home is, but they tried to price it even higher than that, because if theirs is worth that, mine is worth that much more. But as you see the deceleration in home price increases, you're going to start to see those active homes need to reduce their price. As they reduce their price, they're just getting down to where the value of the home was. These stats that we're showing you are sales, not active listings or pending listings. The appreciation in values are from sales. Whatever's on the market has not sold yet. So them reducing their prices, getting back to the same value of the sales. So them at 530, they're just having to reduce their price to get closer to that 500 where the most recent sales were, because that's probably what's going to help generate the sale and generate a price. So keep that in mind. The price reductions are due to overpriced homes, raising the value too quickly, pricing it on a projection, not where the value of the home should be based on the sold comps. And that's where we really need to start putting more of our focus. Over the last 6 months, 8 months, we could really look at the solds, but then look at those pendings and say, hey, they're doing it. We should be able to do this because you are a little nicer, or you did do this, or you have that. We can push that price a little bit. But I still feel at that time, I still felt pricing it where the value of the home should be is going to create the highest price. Right now, I think we need to be more along the value of where the sold comps were. Let's incentivize the buyer more by showing him that you're not greedy, because any buyer who has that emotional sentiment of, yeah, they're being greedy, the housing market's going to crash, I need to buy a home, but I'm not paying that, they need to do this. Let's incentivize the buyer. Let's show them that you're not being greedy. Let's put a valuable asset on the market and give them the opportunity to negotiate and buy it, which just means we need to be better advocates for our sellers. So keep those things in mind. So moving forward, what needs to change? These are some of the things that need to change in you. There's no better time to do it than today. You make a decision that I am going to, and I will do these things. I will make these changes. Here's some of the things that you need to change today. You need to change your mindset and your belief. And here's why we continue to put this information in front of you, to keep reminding you of what is going on so that you have more talking points. So you get that in your head, and we fill your head with these thoughts rather than everything else that's going on out there around it. And thank you to the 70 people that are logging in and checking in with us, because you are going to be ahead of the curve. So your mindset and your beliefs. If you believe that the housing market is going to crash, how likely are you to go out and try to get a listing or sell a home to a buyer? Not very likely. You feel you wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I went out there and if I sold them this home and the home prices crash. And if you're not able to tell them the truth of what's going on with the stats and the facts in the market, how likely are you to go out and try to sell a home? Either way, listing or a buyer. Not very likely. So you need to shift your beliefs. We need to start paying attention to more of the facts that are out there and not the fear. Let's pay attention to the facts. We've been giving you plenty of facts to be able to state and to resuscitate and to be able to use. So let's use some more of those. Your mindset. You need to start believing in that the decisions that you make today can, do, and will have an effect on your outcome tomorrow. So making a decision today, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of decisions that you make on a daily basis. So if you want to have a better quality of life, make a better quality of decisions. That's all that means. And if you need help making a better quality of decisions, sometimes you need to get out of your head, because inside your head, it's like a ping pong ball flying all around, but you've got 100 of them going all over the place. You drop a new thought in there trying to make a decision, it gets caught up in the mix. You cannot pull out a creative thought because you are so preoccupied with all of the other BS that's going on in your head. So your mindset needs to change. And the best way to do that is to get someone that's going to help coach you through that, to run some ideas off of, to give you some ideas, some things to do, some intentions, some attitudes, some decisions that you can help make, and to hold you accountable to those decisions. So your mindset and your belief needs to shift and needs to change. What else needs to change in order to make things happen here? We talked about getting back to the basics last week. Go back to farming, go back to FSBOs, go back to expireds and withdrawns, start getting into the neighborhood. Your actions need to change. Fortunately and unfortunately for us, we've had the ability to create sales without having to do a whole lot. Those of you that actually took action and were actively prospecting, it shows, because you can see the level of business that you had. Majority of people had an increase in their business over the last year to year and a half, whether it was in the amount of sales or just in the revenue. The people who prospected and continued to do those things saw a more significant increase. But fortunately and unfortunately, we were able to trip and fall into business. So if you were out there talking to people, you were going to generate opportunities. So what needs to change? You need to be more selective with your actions. You need to be more determined with your actions, which means you need to create a schedule. You need to say, I'm going to do these things on these days from this time to this time. You need to become more intentional with your marketing. You need to become more intentional with the things that you're doing. I showed you a simple video last week, how a fake real estate agent took over a market. They send surveyors into a neighborhood. They asked every single homeowner, who's the number one agent in this market? Who is the number one agent in this market? There is a myriad of different agents that came up. Not one stood out. There was not one that was a majority by any means. So they created a fake real estate agent, fake name, fake brokerage, and they did an 8x8 campaign. So 8 weeks in a row, one piece of mail was sent out. 8 weeks in a row. So 2 months, every single week, those homeowners saw his face, his name, his brokerage, his marketing materials. Never sold a dang thing, but it was a fake real estate agent. They went into the neighborhood after that and asked all of the homeowners who the number one agent in the market was. The fake real estate agent won by a majority. Never sold a home, had no idea, never met any of them, never talked to them, never knocked on the door, never did anything. They said he was the number one agent in the market. Top of mind. Why? Because of actions. If you would take those actions and then compound on top of that with some social media, with some more targeted type ads, whether it's social media or anything like that, knocking on doors, dropping off flyers, mailing things, putting CMAs out, meeting some of the neighbors, creating events, and doing all of that, you can become the number one agent in a market in a matter of 60 days. Doesn't mean you get sales right away. It just means you become top of mind and you have a better opportunity than anybody else. You're stealing market share back. And that's the whole point, because we haven't been doing those things. You hear Craig talk about it. I don't get any mailers. I'm not seeing any postcards from agents, whether they completely disregard me or they're able to find my name and pull it out, or they're able to cross-reference. I don't get very many mailers at my house. I get 1 or 2 from a couple people that I know live in the neighborhood, and that's it. So what is stopping you from taking different actions to create the outcomes that you want? So that's something that's going to have to shift. Your actions are going to have to change. Your attitude and your intentions. Your attitude and intentions. You should be setting intentions every single day. What are my intentions today? What are my intentions for the week, for the month, for the year, for the what are my goals? Basically, what are my goals and what are my intentions for today? My intentions are to talk to 10 people today, to let them know what's really going on in this housing market so I could become top of mind with them and be a valuable resource in their market. My intention is to talk to 10 people today to find one buyer or seller that I can help. My intention is to talk to 10 people today so that I can find and create one appointment this week and generate one listing by the end of this month. What is your intention for today? If you worked every single day with that intention, it makes a huge difference. The people who show up to the gym and intend to work out until they sweat their ass off, until they can't move anymore and work every rep till failure, end up having better results than the people who intend to show up because they have to. Don't get me wrong, showing up is better than not showing up. But showing up with an attitude and intention that you're going to do it, have to do it, will do it, and going to make it happen, and here's the result I'm after, which one has a better result? So you need to shift and change your attitudes and intentions in this market for what you're going to do. You should have those attitudes and intentions. Before, our attitude and intention was basically, I'm going to leave the house because I'm going to run into somebody who may want to buy or sell. Basically, I know I'm exaggerating. I know you guys have worked your asses off over the last year and a half, and it's been very, very hard and difficult in a lot of ways, but the opportunities have created themselves in a lot of ways for us. And a lot of you have created some as well. But if you continue to do that, you are the ones who are going to continue to thrive. So create some different attitudes and intentions. Your marketing is going to have to change because most of you have not been doing any marketing over the last year and a half or 2 years. You're going to have to become more intentional with your marketing. Putting out social media. How often should you be doing it? Should you be doing it once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day? What's your focus going to be? I plan to focus on this lane of marketing. I plan to focus on FSBOs, focus on expireds, focus on social media, focus on my sphere. You need to become more intentional with that. Your marketing will definitely have to shift and change, and you need to create different actions. So those are some things that are going to have to shift. You're going to have to shift your marketing. Your schedule is going to have to change. I know a lot of our schedules for buyers has been running all over the place. I go at the drop of a hat. When they call me, I got to go. When they call and say they found a home, got to show up. You need to take some of that power back. We've given a lot of that power away to buyers. And if you are a buyer's agent, if you've been working with buyers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've given a lot of that power away. Nights, weekends, drop of a dime. Sorry, I can't do it. I got to go show this house. It just hit the market. It's already got 12 offers. You don't have to do those things anymore. Take a little bit more of your power back. Start taking a little bit more of that. A doctor sets his schedules. He tells you what's available. You don't tell him, all right, I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock because that's when I get out of work. So create your own schedules. Become more intentional with your schedule. Become more intentional with your actions, more intentional with your marketing. So when do I work? I work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or I work on these days. And during those times, my schedule is from 9 to 11 or 9 to 12. I do my prospecting. My intention is to find one buyer or seller every single day that I can put in my pipeline with the goal of having one appointment a week and a new listing every single month. Whatever that intention is, you need to start creating some more of those things. You need to be more intentional with that. What else needs to change? Your level of practice. Why is it that when a market shifts, and say the 2008 when it happened, why is it that a ton of real estate agents left the business? Why? Because they were only in the business because it was easy. And it has been easy for some people to get into the business and to get business, not to actually do it the right way, but to get into the business and to get business. It's been easy. So a lot of them are going to lose and leave the business because it's not easy anymore. They need to be a professional. They've never been trained how to be a professional. They've never been trained how to identify personality profiles, rapport building skills, connection skills. They've never been trained with scripts and processes and tools. They've never been trained to do that. And a lot of us, whereas we have this training and it's accessible and available to you, a lot of us are not engaging with that. A lot of us are not using those things. We need to become more practiced. We need to do more practicing your scripts. We need to do more practicing your pricing and your marketing, practicing, knowing your market knowledge and your training. You need to do more training. We need to know more of those things. There's stats that show that agents who do consistent training outperform by 45% agents who don't. Consistent training, regular training causes an agent to outperform others by 45%. And if you're trained on things like Moxie and using those things, staying in touch, Moxie's claim is that if you use their system and you use it correctly and regularly, you are going to be able to double your business because of the actions that you're putting into that. So these are things that are going to have to change in order for you to continue to thrive. Exactly, John, they actually had to work. Where were these stats? I'll show you. 42% of, there's one of them in here. Continuous training gives 50% higher net sales per employee. Outperformed by 50% more. So just these stats, salespeople who actively seek out and exploit referrals earn 4 to 5 times more than those who don't. We haven't had to actively seek them out recently. And I know a lot of us haven't done it to a certain extent. So let's get it on our schedule and start calling everybody and talking to everybody, reminding them who we are, what we do, giving them some information, letting them ask some questions about the market and ask them for an opportunity to be of value to them and the people around them. 91% say they would give a referral, but only 11% of salespeople actually ask for them. It's probably even lower right now. We just need to be a little bit more intentional with our actions. 13% of customers believe a salesperson can understand their needs. Why? Because the salesperson isn't actually training, isn't understanding, isn't listening. They're not paying attention to the training side of the DISC, the rapport building skills, VAK. They're not paying attention to those things, so the person doesn't feel understood. And it's easy to get into the business and to get business, not to do the business, but to get it, which is why a lot of 13% believe that a salesperson doesn't understand their needs. Continuing training gives a 50% higher net sales per employee. We need to get back. That's something that needs to change. You need to do more training. Takes up to 10 months or more for a new sales rep to become fully productive. So you guys are not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. So you need to become more productive. It's not going to take you 10 months because you know what you're doing. You've done it before. We just need to get more intentional about our actions and about our training and about our intentions and our schedule and the marketing and the things we're doing. And you can put that on autopilot and start doing those things and create more opportunities. The average company loses between 10 and 30% of its customers each year because we are not doing the things that we need to do to stay in touch with them. If all real estate agents did their job, none of us would have a job, because they would stay in touch with their consumers. They would call them regularly. They would be training regularly. They'd be able to provide the highest level of service that the customer would never want to go anywhere else unless they moved to another state. So we need to become more intentional with these things. After a presentation, 63% of attendees remembered stories, only 5% remembered stats. If you notice when I'm talking about, I talk about stats and all of that, but I also try to inflect stories into it. When I'm talking to a consumer, I'm using stories. I'm giving them an example. I'm not telling them your home is worth this, or this is because of that. I'm telling them a story about it. Well, your neighbor around the corner, or we just had a client that did the same thing, a very similar thing, that they did this. I'm telling them a story because people relate to stories. They put themselves in the position of the person in the story, and they relate emotionally. People buy with emotion and justify with logic. So you telling them logical stats, look, 90% of the people that did this got that. That's just a stat. But a story about it says, well, so we just worked with a consumer and a homeowner, a seller, a buyer, and they did this. And when we did that, it created this. And this are the things that happen. Now, they were a little hesitant in the beginning because they saw this, but we assured them, we did this, we went through that, and we got this, and we created this outcome for them, which ultimately caused the home to sell for this and do this and this and this. So these, and the reason that we did it is because we saw some of these other stats, and some of the other sellers that we've been working with had similar experiences. And we saw the stat that showed that these things. Tell them a story, get them to connect to the seller emotionally, to the person. 42% of people encouraged to make a purchase if the sales rep called back at an agreed upon time, agreed upon specific time. So setting appointments, setting schedules, not just hoping they're going to answer or calling them, say, hey, you got some time? Actually setting an appointment to follow up creates in their mind that this is going to be a decision time. So up until then, they're constantly thinking and going through thoughts in their mind, bringing in the logic, bringing in the emotion to get to the point. So when you call them and sit down with them, they're more prepared. Whereas if you just call them, they haven't had that time to create those thoughts. They haven't had the time to process all of those things. You're putting them on the spot. And most people, when they're put on the spot in the time of making a decision, most people are not a D personality, quick to make decisions that are going to jump at it and do it right away. Most people are the S, C, little bit of the I too, and they're more slower to make decisions. They need to think about it. They're not going to feel pressured. They can't do that. When they get put, a lot of people, when they get put into a position like that, they shift over to a little bit more of a C personality. So they start really overthinking things. So you need to give them some time to process that by setting an agreed upon time. And then Moxie Stats, using a Moxie CRM will cause an agent to potentially double their business. So just some simple stats for you. So with that being said, we will wrap it up there. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, please feel free to share. Quick reminders, see if there's anything else going on this week. Just quick reminders. 2 passes for Florida 21. We have the $99 passes. 2 agents aren't able to go. If you would like to attend a Florida 21, but that's what I want to say. It's at the Gaylord Palms. It's in Orlando. If you just want to go for a day, just go for a day. Buy one of the $99 passes instead of the $149 one that you have to pay online. Contact Susie Brush. Tell her you'd like to buy that ticket. She will get it put into your name, and you can go pick up your registration pass, and you can come for the day. Find another person that's here and carpool together for 1 or 2 days. Just come out, hang out, attend some of the events, attend some of the classes, hang out with a bunch of your peers. Since it is so close, we are going to have a good turnout of agents there. So it would be a good idea to attend some of those. There's always some great information. And you are, one of the statements you hear from people, you are the sum of the 5 people that are closest to you. Well, hang around people doing these things. There's brokers, there's managers, there's agents, there's top producers. Hang around some more of those people, start interacting with them. Start mentoring with some of these people, hearing their thoughts, going to some of the classes. You get some good out of it. So I would say I would definitely recommend going to this event and at least coming out and spending a day with us. So call Susie, get the $99 ticket instead of buying it online. All right, guys, happy Wednesday, July 6th. Make it an awesome day.